Good afternoon, class. Thank you. You can sit down. Right. In our last lesson, we looked at method number 2 on how to solve quadratic equations. What is that method called, Patrick?
Completing the squares.
Completing the square. Method 1, Livingston? What is method 1 on how to solve quadratic equations?
Factorizing.
Factorizing. Good. Okay. I gave you 4 questions to do for homework. We'll look at those 4 questions today, and then we'll look at the third method on how to solve quadratic equations. All right, before we do that, in our last lesson, the answer for number 2 should have been -1 plus root 7 or -1 minus root 7. I think I said I said 1 plus root 7 or 1 minus root 7, which is wrong. It's supposed to be -1 plus root 7 and -1 minus root 7. Okay, first 2 questions. Lester, you will have to give us the answer to number 3.
X equals 2 plus root 7 or x equals 2 minus root 7.
All right, answers for number 3, x equals 2 plus root 7 or x equals 2 minus root 7. You all agree? Yes. Okay, if you disagree, then say so. Number 4. Kila.
X equals 5 plus root 31. X equals root 31 minus 5. Or x equals minus 5 plus root 31.
Okay, minus 5 plus root 31 or minus 5 minus root 31. You all agree? Okay, is anyone willing to come and do question 5 on the board, please? Question 5. Nobody? Why? Kyle, you'll have to come and do number 5 on the board. Number 6 I will do, and I'll explain because number 6 refers to what we are going to do next. Okay, Kyle, come and do number 5 for us quickly. Just come and do it here. Find a piece of chalk there. Okay, good. The answers are 14 or -2. Any questions? You all understood, huh? Okay, I'm going to do question 6, and I'd like you to follow how I do question 6, because what we are going to do next is to look at method number 3, and that is using the quadratic formula. I will not give you the formula, we'll have to derive it from here, and yeah, we are going to derive that by following how to solve this question. See if you get the correct answer. Okay, the equation is 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 equals 0. So I move 3 onto the other side by adding. And then I divide by 3 on both sides of the equation, because we cannot do anything else unless the coefficient here is 1. So if I divide this by 3, I will get x squared. Then I get 4 on 3 x equals 3 on 3, which is 1. Okay, so I now have x squared plus 4 on 3x equals 1. What is the next step? I now have to, what's the next step? Find y lowest common multiple. What? Okay, we are completing the square to solve this equation here. My question is, what is the next step I should do to solve? I get half of what? 4 on 3, and I square it and I add it on both sides. Okay, tell me, Taumaku, what is half of 4 on 3? Quick. As a fraction. Half of 4 on 3 as a fraction. Half of 4 on 3. Taumaku, what do you see on the board?
2/3.
2/3. Okay, it's 4 on 6, which is 2/3. Okay, so I am going to get 2/3, and I'll square it and add it onto both sides. Okay, so now I get this, and if I expand, I get x squared plus 4 on 3x plus 4 on 9 equals 1 plus 4 on 9. Now I have to factorize. Solomon, how can I factorize x squared plus 4 on 3x plus 4 on 9? Give him the mic.
X plus the square root of 4 over 9.
Which is?
2 on 3.
2 on 3. Remember what I said? It's the same number. It's half of this one. It's the same number here. Okay, so x plus 2 on 3 squared equals, I now have to add that. That's 9 on 9, so 13 on 9. Am I right? Okay, that's one whole. That's 9 on 9 plus 4 on 9 is 13 on 9. Now I have to find the square root of both sides. Okay, square root of this is going to be x plus 2 on 3 equals the square root of 13 on 9 is plus or minus root 13, because 9 you can find the square root of 9, which is 3. If I just put down 3, will you follow? Or should I put down the square root of 13 on 9 like that? Okay, remember when we looked at sets, square root of 13 on 9 is the same as root 13 over root 9. Are you with me? Okay, so it's x plus 2 on 3 equals plus or minus, I'll just write this one as root 13 over 3. Okay, I now have two answers. One is x equals minus 2 on 3 plus root 13 on 3, or x equals minus 2 on 3 minus root 13 on 3. Okay, I can still put this under one denominator because the denominators are the same. That's 3 and 3. So I can write it like this. Let me just put it here so it's clearer. Minus 2 plus root 13 all over 3. That's one answer. The other one is minus 2 minus root 13 on 3. Is it clear? Okay. And if you wanted to, you could change that to 2 decimal places if required, or even 1 decimal place. But that's the exact value of question number, or equation number 6. Okay, is this clear? Okay, see what answer you've got, and then if you haven't, then that's what you do in solving equations where a is greater than 1, and if you are asked to use completing the square, you have to divide by the coefficient of x squared. Okay, but you don't have to use completing the square later on, because we are going to learn how to use the quadratic formula. Finished? Okay, next. We are going to use completing the square to come up with a formula that you can use to solve quadratic equations as well. Okay, this is now the third method, using the quadratic formula. In grade 11, if I can derive an equation, I will do that instead of just giving you the formula to use, so you know where it comes from. So that's what we are going to do. So I would like everyone to pay attention, please. Okay, the question we have is solve the equation ax squared plus bx minus c equals 0 using, sorry, that should be a plus. Okay, that should be a plus. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, to do that, we will use completing the square, because that's what we are asked to do. The first thing we have to do is to divide by a, which is the coefficient of x squared. So if I divide by a, I will get this. X squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals 0. Then the next thing I do is I bring c over a to the right. If I wanted to, I could have brought c over a to the right first. You can do either of that. So x squared plus b over a x equals minus c over a. The next step is to get half of b over a, square it, and add it on both sides of the equation. What is half of b over a? Half of b over a.
B over 2a.
b over 2a, very good. Okay, so x squared plus b over ax. I now have to square b over a, 2a, and add it on both sides. So b over 2a squared equals minus c over, what I will do is put b over 2a in front because it's positive. So b over 2a squared minus c over a. Is everyone following? Everyone? Okay, I'm going to go back so I can see some people didn't follow. All I'm doing is I'm using completing the square to try and solve for x. The first thing, following what we did here, I divide by a and I get that. Then if I bring this one to the other side, so it's, I subtract it, so it becomes x squared plus b over ax equals minus c over a. Like I said, if I wanted to, I could have done that first and then divided like I did to this one. Okay, then to complete the square, we have to get half of the coefficient of x. And half of b over a is b over 2a. How do I know that? If you can't work it out quickly, just say half of b over a. That's where I get b over 2a from. So I square it and I add it onto both sides of the equation. So instead of me adding it here, I want the positive to be in front. So that's why I've added it in the front. So is it clear now? Okay, next thing is, okay, x squared plus b over a x plus b squared over 4a squared. That's the square of 2a equals b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. Okay, I'll have to use this one. We'll solve this on the board. This marker is playing up. Okay, from this point, I now have to factorize. Okay, if I factorize x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared, what will it be? Velma?
X plus b over 2a.
Okay, x plus b over 2a squared equals, what I will do is tidy up the other side. I am subtracting one fraction from another fraction. What is the lowest common multiple of 4a squared and a squared? What is the lowest common multiple of 4a squared and a? 4a squared. Okay. 4a squared into 4a squared is 1. 1 times b squared will be b squared. 4a squared into a is 4a times c is 4ac. Okay. What is the next step then? I have to find the square root of both sides. The square root of this side is x plus b over 2a. Good, you are following. The square root of the other side is plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. But I can find the square root of 4a squared just like I did here. The square root of 9 was 3. So x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Good. Now, what is x then? X is equal to Chutaili. Can you tell us if you can see? Try.
Square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a minus b over 2a.
Okay, all you have to do is subtract b over 2a on both sides. But what I'm going to do is put it in front instead of putting it at the end. Just like we did here. Instead of subtracting here, we subtract and put it in front. So I am going to say that it's equal to minus b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. One final step. Because both fractions are under the above one denominator, I can then say it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And this is what the quadratic formula is. Okay, this equation is called the quadratic formula. Note, b is the same value here, c is the same one in the equation, and also a. So if you wanted to find x, all you had to do was substitute the values for b, a, and c, and then you solve. Okay, we'll do the example on this side. Did you follow? Well, at least if you see this somewhere in a textbook, you will know where it comes from. Any questions on that before I do the example? No? Okay. We are asked to solve 3x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0 using the quadratic formula. Note, the first thing that you need to do if you want to use the quadratic formula, you have to identify a, b, and c from the equation. So in this case, a is 3, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. Okay, the quadratic formula is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. All of it is divided by 2a. You have to note, I still see grade 12s making this mistake. They leave minus b out and they just divide this by 2a. When it's not supposed to be the case, everything is divided by 2a. Okay, a is 3, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. Note, b is a negative number, so minus sign, the minus sign is always in the formula. So minus negative 2, because I'm substituting b for negative 2 for b, plus or minus negative 2 is squared, minus 4 times I have to multiply a by 4, which is 3, and C is negative 3. All over 2 times 3. Minus negative 2 is now positive 2 plus or minus. I have 4 minus 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36. So it will be plus 36 because that's negative times negative over 6. Okay, 2 plus or minus the square root of 36 plus 4 is 40 over 6. There are two answers. X equals 2 plus root 40 on 6, or x is equal to 2 minus root 40 on 6. Now, there are two ways the answer could be required. One is in exact form, and secondly, usually to 2 decimal places. Now, if we wanted the answer in exact form, listen, you have to simplify, because you realize that you can divide 6 by 2, and even this 40, you can simplify it. Root 40 is the same as the square root of 4 times the square root of 10. So you have to simplify, because sometimes they require to simplify the answer. So I'll just simplify this. 2 plus root 40 is root 4 times root 10. You all know how to do this from our previous lesson, over 6. And this will be 2 minus root 4 times root 10 over 6. Okay, this is now 2 plus 2 root 10 on 6. 2 plus 2 root 10 on 6, and this one will be 2 minus 2 root 10 on 6. Still, it's not simplified enough, because you can factorize. Those of you at the back, can you see this? Okay, I've got 2, that's 2 plus 2 root 10 on 6. That's the first one. The other one is 2 minus 2 root 10 on 6. I can factorize by taking out 2. So I have 2 times 1 plus root 10 on 6. And I can cancel 2 and 6. This one will be 3. So the answer in simplified form is 1 plus root 10 on 3. This one is going to be 1 minus root 10 on 3. Okay, that's if you were asked to write the answer in exact form. You will have to simplify it, because if you don't, although it's in exact form, it's not simplified if you keep it as root 40. Now, if you want the answer to 2 decimal places, what will it be? You can simplify this one yourself. Through it. One plus root 10 on 3 to 2 decimal places, quickly. 1.39. What about this one? To 2 decimal places. That's 1 minus root 10 on 3. Minus 0.72. Is it clear? Okay, before you get what's on the board. I want you to try and solve question 1. Use the quadratic formula to solve question 1, please. minus 4. Look at what I've got on the board. I substituted a negative 2. So when I did, it became positive. Yeah. All right, your answer is supposed to be negative 2 or 2 on 3. You all got that? Yes. Okay, for homework now, you are going to do questions 2, 3, 4, and 5. And for testing purposes, we don't give you the formula until the mock exam in grade 12. So this is the first formula you are required to put in your computer, your human computer. So everywhere you go, you sing x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, I'll have to let you go. The keyword to the pilot teacher is quadratic formula. Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon. Thank you. You can go.